Welcome to a YouTube channel where we openly discuss race and ethnicity, which arguably are nothing but arbitrary things that man created, a social construct, as they say. We continue to give these things power. You could say, well, you're making a video about it, and I could say, well, you're watching the videos about it. It's an intriguing topic. We can't stop participating in it. And what's interesting, I'm 39 years old. It wasn't until this morning that I read an article to put things in perspective, just to further mock this idea of race, because ultimately it really is a social construct. Here's proof of it. Have you ever thought about this until today? I have not. At least here in the United States, the way society perceives it. It's impossible for a black woman to give birth to a white baby. But it is not impossible for a white woman to give birth to a black baby. Now, did I make that rule up? Did I invent that? Do I agree that that's the way it should be? Absolutely not. But I'm saying the collective mindset of people in the United States, that is the concept that they buy into. That's the social construct that they buy into. So let's really just kind of map this out. President Obama, people tagged him as the first black president. I never agree to that. I say he's the first biracial president. His mother was white, his father was black. He's biracial. And granted, I've made other videos talking about how technically all black Americans are biracial. I've yet to have one black American leave me a comment and say, Nick, I'm a black American. No, I did not migrate here from Africa. My parents are not from Africa. I'm not a first generation American. I mean, a black, like Michael Jordan, for example, just your normal average person in the United States, as far as when we look at them as a black person, they take a DNA test. If Michael Jordan took a DNA test, it would not show that he's 100% African. You're going to see something like 25% or maybe a third European. And if you didn't, you'd still see something like 15 or 12 or 10. So I've made multiple videos saying that all black Americans are biracial by default. If you've got any European DNA in your background, by default, that makes you biracial, right? I mean, I feel like that's easy to agree with. And again, I've yet to have one American that's black tell me that they took a DNA test showing that they were 0% European. The only thing, again, we could even grasp is if somebody lived in Africa and all of their heritage was deep in one country where Europeans never came across, and then they migrated to the United States and took a DNA test. Maybe then we'd find someone with 100%. But as far as black Americans, not first generation, black Americans, you're going to see what I'm going to say is biracial. So let's get back to the topic here. In the United States, there's a white woman. She marries a black man. They have a child. The white woman gives birth. It's a mixed race child. It's a biracial child. But the way that child would be perceived is, we could say mixed, but ultimately that child is black. It will largely be perceived that way by the white community as well as the black community. It's not one side saying that. The white woman ultimately gives birth to a black baby. We cannot say that the opposite is true, though. So now we've got a black woman and a white man. The mother gives birth to their child. That child ultimately is black. The child is not white, because that's how society perceives it. They perceive that that child is black, even though they recognize mixed race, even though they recognize biracial. It's interesting that the default goes to black in this situation. So let me say it out loud again. The perception, which I'm not saying that it should be this way, I didn't invent this, I'm just acknowledging it exists, and I think it's strange, and it points out how all this is a social construct. The way Americans perceive it, a white woman can give birth to a black baby, but a black woman cannot give birth to a white baby. Your comments on the way collectively society made that rule up, which again, I do not endorse the rule. I'm saying it exists. Conversate on that right here in the comments.